let's go through the first gland that we're going to study today. So, the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is also called hypophysis. Hypophysis is like an old name for this gland. More recently, pituitary gland is more accepted. So this gland rests on the sella turcica, which is this little depression in the sphenoid bone. Okay, so this is like a little gland, one of the smallest that we have in the human body. Although the hypophysis is a small gland, this is considered the master gland. The pituitary gland is also called the master gland. The master gland because it is responsible for regulating other glands in the human body. So anatomically, the hypophysis is divided in anterior pituitary gland or adenohypophysis, which is this part here, adenohypophysis. And we also have another part, which is the posterior part, that is called neurohypophysis. Okay, so this is the neurohypophysis, the posterior pituitary gland. Uh, it's worth to mention that the posterior pituitary gland is a bunch of neurons, okay, as you see here. So those neurons, they come from the hypothalamus, okay, so here you see hypothalamic neurons. So those neurons, they go downwards, okay, towards the posterior pituitary gland, and those neurons, uh, they technically are part of the brain, okay, and rather than making or producing hormones, they act in the storage of hormones, okay, so they store hormones produced by the hypothalamus. uh, Okay, is it clear? The neurohypophysis doesn't produce hormones. Instead, the neurohypophysis stores the hormones produced in the hypothalamus. So then they release the hormones when an impulse is transmitted to this area. So an impulse is transmitted and then the hormones are released. The posterior pituitary gland only releases two hormones, okay? The two hormones they release are the oxytocin, which is responsible for contraction of smooth muscles of sexual organs, okay, including the uterus during when a woman is giving birth, for example, or also contracting the prostate smooth muscles in males. And the other hormone, apart from oxytocin, is the ADH, which is the antidiuretic hormone. So ADH is also secreted by the posterior pituitary gland. And also considering the anatomical division of the hypophysis, we have therefore the anterior pituitary gland, posterior pituitary gland, and right here in the middle we have the pars intermedia, this part here. What I want to call your attention, because the pars intermedia is an area of a region of the adenohypophysis, okay, as you see here, the anterior lobe. And the pars intermedia is also called neurointermediate lobe because it lies adjacent to the posterior lobe of the hypophysis or neurohypophysis. Okay, so it lies adjacent to the neurohypophysis, and it has like a specific function of releasing a specific hormone, which is called here that you can see MSH. Okay, so MSH is the melanocyte stimulating hormone. So this hormone stimulates the production of melanocytes in the skin. So this is the importance of the pars intermedia, okay, for releasing this um, melanocyte stimulating hormone. This hormone is more active in kids, okay? Is the action of this hormone in adults is is still not well understood, okay? So scientists they believe that this MSH, this hormone, is not active in adults, so only in kids, okay, during the fetal development and when the kid is growing up. In the next slides you have the all the endocrine glands and their secretions, okay. So as you see here, you have different colors for each gland, okay. And in the next slides you're gonna see the hormones released by each gland in those different colors that you see here. So it is believed that nearly half of the hormones that are released by the anterior pituitary gland is the growth hormone. So the growth hormone is like produced in large amounts by the anterior pituitary gland. And one of the, let's say, disorders that could happen when this hormone is not well regulated is acromegaly, okay, which is basically the enlargement of extremities, okay, so the hands, the foot, jaw, the nose. So the aspect is like the aspect of the of Shrek, as you see here in the picture. And this man that you see here in this black and white picture, uh, there are rumors that this man was the man who inspired Shrek, okay, in the movies. So he was like a Russian-born French man who inspired Shrek. And the other condition is called gigantism. Gigantism is also another disorder of growth hormone. Um, in this picture, you can see the tallest man in the world. Uh, he's from India, and he's in the Guinness records in 2018. Okay, so he met with the shortest lady in the world also.